precious name and hear you running across the floor. But I know you and time are in together, racing towards the newest thing you've never seen before. I feel it when I hold you, girl, you're growing every day. And I'm filling time's facetious ways to carry you away. So darling, let me guide you for a moment, show you how this world is full of beauty if you care. And always look for the goodness all around you. Always try your best, but then let God take it from there. No, I won't be around forever. Yeah, when time has had enough of me, it takes my soul away. Yeah, but always know, baby, I am all around you. If ever you should need me, just close your eyes and say my name.
Boom. Happy Friday. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Glick's House of Music. You guys know me. I'm Glick, of course. Hopefully you guys are having a good week, had a good week, and ready for the weekend. We're going to try to make your weekend a little bit better tonight. If you're not already, go ahead and check out the network. You know, we got shows Monday through Sunday over at Nonsensical Network, bio.link/Nonsensical Network. I'm going to give you all the links and everything like that. It's been a little bit since you guys see me, but I'm back tonight. That young man that was singing that song right there at the beginning of the show, he's joining us. Mr. Josh Merritt is in the building. Hopefully I said his name right. Otherwise, he's going to kick my ass because, you know, we might be related. We might be Sasquatchian brothers. I'm just saying. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up on stage because I know you guys don't want to hear me talk to myself. There he is. Josh, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's up, man?
Did I get the name right? I'm always worried about names.
Yeah, Josh Merritt.
And you got a pretty easy name, but that's usually the ones that you screw up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I started with one of your songs. I like the fire pitch sessions that you do. It looks like it's a new thing that you just started doing.
Yeah, they were a hit. We did a bunch all at once, so it was kind of an idea. And I thought, man, we released this album back in February, and we did a bunch of the real stuff and different promotional type stuff. Got to push the record, but working with the guy I do content with a lot, and I said, man, let's just set a fire pit up and do it old school. That's how.
It's like old school. That's how I think you probably the same way. Sounds like you're from a small town. I'm from I'm originally from a small town, and that was a typical Friday or Saturday night. You had a bonfire.
Yeah,
it never failed. At least one person had a guitar. And
those are my first audiences there. So yeah, we did all those all at once. We did those all at once though, man. I've got a couple questions. They're like, man, you get the setting on that right every time. I was like, no, we did them all at once and chopped them up, So
sometimes that's the best way to do it. You're already in the mood, but I gotta say, man, lately, and this is exactly how I stumbled across your music was Instagram.
Yeah.
Social media. I've fallen into that right algorithm where looking for new artists and stuff like that for the show and everything. And that was one of the first reels that popped up, and I was like, "Ooh, let me go creep on this guy because I like that song and I like his sound." And I was like, as I listened and found your YouTube channel, I was like, "All right, I'm actually a fan." So I love all types of music. I'm a huge music guy. So to have this opportunity to get to hang out with you and chat with you for a little bit tonight. First and foremost, thank you for popping up here and hanging out with us tonight. And we're going to play some of your, I got a couple of your songs. We're going to play some down the road to let the audience kind of get a feel for you as well. Perfect. What's going on, Mark? Speaking of the network, two of my guys in here.
Yeah.
So I know we were talking backstage. Sometimes there's backstage that the content backstage is always good. I almost want to figure out a way to record it. That way I can put it like up on Patreon or something like that, like exclusive content. But we were talking backstage, and you said you're from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Kentucky has its own history in music and whatnot like that. But what got you into the music? What was it that initial bug that bit you where you're like, I'm going to be a singer, I'm going to be a songwriter?
So my dad is from my dad is the middle child of 14 children. Yeah, in a small town here in Western Kentucky. So, and they come from a very poor farm family that back in the 60s and 70s, there wasn't a lot to do if you were poor and that much to do and had 14 kids in the house. There wasn't a lot of money to go around. And so the town that I'm from, Owensboro, Kentucky, is actually considered the home of bluegrass music. They just built the International Bluegrass Museum here in Owensboro, and so there's huge bluegrass roots here where I'm from, and my dad and all of his family members in some way or another play bluegrass music. And so when I was a kid, I would get dragged out to these big bluegrass jams that my uncles would throw on Saturday nights or inevitably my dad was playing that or something like that. And so that was my first taste of live music, was going out to those. And when I was really small, it was just a place for me to go meet the other kids that were running around, but probably around the age of 7 or 8, it really hooked me to where I was like, man, I'd like to join in on this, so that was my first taste of music for sure.
Nice. And that's a good music right there to get that first sample. I grew up listening to bluegrass. My grandfather from originally from West Virginia, and he introduced me to it. And I had some former family that they're originally from down there in Kentucky. They're from Pike County. Yeah. And they all played and sang, and we used to go out. They had some property up here down in southern Ohio, and we'd get together for deer season, and every night drinking and playing moonshine or playing bluegrass music and singing. And
you said moonshine. Moonshine goes with bluegrass music, like spirits, baby.
You can't have one without the other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
No, okay, so I know you mentioned where you're from, and I was like, why am I drawing a blank? But when you said the Bluegrass Museum, that's why I've heard of the area. That's why I've heard of the area down there.
And that's fairly new, the Bluegrass Museum, but it's the Bill Monroe, who's considered the grandfather of bluegrass music, he's from Rosine, Kentucky, which is about 30 minutes south of here. So yeah,
nice. So how long have you? I mean, you obviously got that taste for it. Yeah. How long have you actually been performing and playing and singing and songwriting?
Since I was a teenager. I had garage bands all the way through high school and all the stuff. And then I guess when I turned 21, I started taking it little more serious. By the time I could go out and start playing bars and clubs and stuff, I jumped right into that as soon as I was able to, and ended up with my first hometown gigs very early, and been doing it ever since. And it's grown every year. I was a heating and air technician after I got out of high school. So from like 18 to 24, when I was 24, I was in a position to where I was like, man, I'm young, no obligations. Let's quit this very good paying job and go do something that's crazy and
yeah,
not as for sure.
Yeah, let's go from having money to being broke and
exactly
essentially living in a car.
exactly.
How old of a guy are you? How old are you?
4.
Oh, yeah, you're still a baby. Damn, man.
Yeah, somewhat. I like to hear that because here's the thing: when you're in your 20s and somebody calls you a baby, it's like, "Oh, I'm not a baby." When you're 34, you've got just enough taste of it where you're like, "I want to be a baby longer." So yeah, I pray that youth's on my side.
There we go. Okay, a little technical difficulties on my end.
No, you're good. You're good.
Apparently, my internet is not wanting to cooperate with me tonight. But no. I'm not your typical interviewer. I'm more of just kind of like your hangout guy. So I never really prepare any questions.
No, it's all good.
I just kind of hang out and go with the flow.
Cheers to you, by the way. It's Friday night, man. We gotta cheers it up, man. Yeah. Oh man.
I do want to ask you because I know we were talking before the show, and you say you're making that journey down to Nashville and doing the Nashville thing. As you said, unfortunately, it's one of those necessary evils to be in the business you're in. I have not been. It's on my bucket list, but I obviously I know Nashville. Have you got to what places have you got to play in? Have you got to play in any of the big places down there yet, or perform or anything like that?
A lot of the Broadway joints, man. I've played up and down Broadway quite a bit, and that's awesome. They've been real nice to me down there, and it's cool to go there and play. A bunch of my buddies, they're Broadway guys, and a lot of them are road musicians, and when they're not on the road, they go down there and play Broadway, and make a healthy living off the road playing down there. I enjoy going down there and playing every now and then, but it's not necessarily my everyday scene. So I love the writers rounds down there. There's places like the Local that do great writers rounds down in Nashville, and I try to get in on as much of that as I can, and I try to lean toward more stuff like that. And then other than that, I travel and play mostly small clubs. I play small clubs all over the East Coast right now. That's pretty much my hook.
Okay, can't beat that. I was talking to one of the bands I had on here, and I'm from a small area, but we've got a couple places in my area that have nice venues where you can set up and put up. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll message you guys. I don't have no connections or anything like that, but I can give you the locations, and
what it's all about.
Do what you guys need to do. And if you get down this way, let me know. I'll be we're trying to get a couple other people. It's like, maybe I'll just use this to start helping these smaller businesses, and that'll be my way into these smaller businesses. Like, hey, you're not too far. You want to make a trip up and perform up here?
Dude, it's everything, man. And honestly, I get questions all the time. People be like, because we do every size. Right now, I'm doing every size of show that you can think of, man. Like, we sold out this place that's not too far from here called the Astra Theater, that I've been releasing content from a show we did there with a band called Old 60. And we sold the theater out and got some great content out of it. That was awesome to be in a theater setting, in a listening room, type setting. And then it's crazy. Last weekend, I was playing this small listening room in Carmel, Indiana, called Finstein's at Hotel Carmichael, which is this extremely bougie joint. They put us up in the hotel. It was a hotel that I would never in my life be even welcomed into the front door of, to clean the windows. Yeah, we were invited there and spent 2 nights there in this very lavish hotel, and was taken very good care of, and had a great audience there. But
Nice.
it's still, my point is, it still amazes me the places that music can take you, and the places that music have taken me, man. I've got to see and do some really cool stuff, being just a run of the mill indie, still grassroots player for the most part, so it's been interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned what was the Astra? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Astra Theater.
I actually I was watching I see a couple things on your YouTube channel from there. That looked like a pretty cool little venue.
It was so cool, man. It was so cool, and it was close enough to home too that all the especially us in Old 60, we had a lot of people we knew in that room, which isn't always the case. You can have people, fans, or people that know you, but I mean people that we had family and close friends and filling up that room for us, man. So it was a very exciting night.
What's that like, knowing that, does that add a level of stress or nervousness to you when you know that you're going to have, like, you're basically home, you're basically playing in your home, you got home field advantage at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the, but then you got, your friends are going to be there, people you grew up with, your family. Does that add an extra level of stress or nervousness, or does that alleviate the nervousness or anything like that?
For me, it alleviates it, I think, man, because I grew up playing in my home area. I still play my home area. When I'm at home, I still, my home area keeps me very busy, and still is a good 50% of the shows that I'm doing, probably. And so, no, in a setting like that, it definitely alleviates the pressure, and it's the sense of pride that comes with it, man. Because you kind of go out and you run around and play all over the place to get to come home and play a theater in a sold out setting. My daughter was there, my fiance was there. It's and you can just see the looks on their faces. They're very proud of you, and that's not always the case, man. Sometimes you're out there beating the highway and playing these clubs and nobody knows who you are, and to half empty rooms, and that's part of the thing. That's just part of the gig, and not to take away from how awesome some of those gigs are. But man, to get to play a full theater with all your family and friends watching, it's a beautiful thing, man. More than I can say. So.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You mentioned there's a local band here in the area that I was fortunate enough to meet. I went and seen another band, and they were one of the opening acts, and great guys, great young guys. And like a week or two later, after the first show, they're like, "Hey, we're playing in this town. Have you ever heard of Centerburg?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's actually where I was born at." I was like, well, what the hell are you guys playing in Centerburg for? It's just like small little podunk town, man. He's like, "Hey, they booked us, so we're gonna go play." And I was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "It's about half hour for me. I'll be there, guys. I'll come out." And it was so cool because there might have been 30 people in this little, it was like a bar / pizza joint. There might have been 30 people in there, but these kids were up there on stage like they were performing in front of 100,000 people.
That's it, man. That's the thing.
The lead singer's running around the bar. He's jumping up on benches and dancing and singing, just having a ball. And I think that, as a fan, I think that you appreciate an artist even more, one that can go to someplace like that and not even care. And whether it's a like you said, the sold out theater or some podunk middle of nowhere bar, you're still having a good time. You're still putting on a good show for the audience because they may never have heard of you. And now all of a sudden, here you come into, you know, Podunk, Indiana to play at Jim's Barbecue Hut. And, oh, who's this guy? And you get up there and you put on one hell of a show. And then they're like, hell yeah, now we got to follow him on social media and see where he's going to be playing at next. We want to come make sure we see him. You got to have that energy. And, you know, being a fan of music and really enjoying it, I think that's one of the things that can really sway you on how you feel about an artist, you know.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to continue to follow them and like them, or you're just going to go, not a bad singer, but I wouldn't pay for tickets.
Underestimating eyes are my favorite thing to see when I come into a small, especially a bar or a small venue like that, man. Underestimating eyes, I love it, man. You can always tell when somebody's looking at you like, who the hell is this? And
and well, you also look like you would fit into most small towns and most,
yeah.
You know, like you could be, you know, that's cousin Josh. Yeah,
sure.
You fit right in.
You get 3 or 4 songs in, and you can tell that they're genuinely enjoying the show. Man, that's a really good feeling. It's
nice.
Good feeling.
You said you got obviously you're engaged. Congratulations. Good luck on that.
Thank you.
And your dad, how many kids do you have?
I have 1, and then I have 2 stepdaughters now, all daughters. So.
I feel your pain. I have 2 daughters, and then I have my son. My son is my youngest. My fiance, you know, she has 2 boys, but they're grown. You know, one's in the Air Force and one's doing his thing. So, but they're cool. They're
awesome,
cool.
Man.
They're both really cool guys. But I feel your pain, man. Girls are. My oldest one just graduated high school, and she just turned 19, and my middle one is 15. And I tell you, man, it does not get. I don't know how old your girls are, but it doesn't get any easier.
So my oldest is my stepdaughter. She's 14, and then my daughter is 8, and then my other stepdaughter is 6. So I've got them all across the board there.
A couple of them are at that fun, still cute age. You know, enjoy it while it lasts, because as you know, there's a 14-year-old. Once they hit that 11, 12-year-old, they turn into these little monsters, and they stay that way. No, kids are great.
I love them.
How hard is that, or how hard is it for them with you being on the road, or for you for that matter?
It's tough sometimes, man. But you know, fortunately, my fiance, she's one of the most supportive people I've ever met in my life, and I've always got her full backing and support. And you know, honestly, I couldn't do it without her at this point. She's just been a godsend, and so. You know, it's tough. You don't want to leave the people you love and the people you care about, your home, but it's a part of the gig and something I've done for a long time. You know, something I've grown used to. It's part of who I am. You know, it's traveling.
It's almost second nature to you at this point. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's one thing that, you know, is always. You know, like, man, what is that like, raising kids and being on the road and just, you know, you spend half the year on the road, and then when you're home, you're, you know, in the studio or you know, working on albums or whatever. I'll
say just before you get off that subject, I watched an interview about 3 years ago. It was Chris Stapleton on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something while he was on there. He said, you know, Rogan was asking him about, he's one of the biggest artists in the world right now. He's like, my God, you must be just living on the road. He said, we just had Sturgill Simpson on here a few weeks ago, and that guy said he ain't been home in a year, you know. And Chris Stapleton told him very politely, he was like, well, here's the deal. He's like, there's choices that you make in business and life and whatever. And he said, the choices that I've chosen to make, and I've been blessed to be able to make these choices, he said, I play 3 shows a week, no matter where they are in the country. And he said, I'm home Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday every week. And he said, well, you're blessed to do that. He said, other artists can't. He's like, they can, it's just not easy, you know?
Yeah.
And I took a lot from that, man. So I've been very careful about how I book my schedule, and I'm not one of these guys that live on the road, and I don't think I ever will be. I love to be on the road, and I'll spend weeks out on the road, but I'm going to be home a couple days a week, and it's important to me to be. It's very important for me to be. So
it's important to be present. That's we were talking about this the other night on the men's mental health show that I host. Being a dad.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things. I've been called a lot of things in life, good or bad, and one of the best things I've ever been called, and one of the worst things I've ever been called at times, depending upon how my kids are feeling, is dad.
Yeah.
And it's a job that I take very seriously. I mean, I gotta agree with what Chris said, man. And it's all about the choices you make, and fortunately, he's in a position now,
Sure.
and I'm where he could like, well, I'm only going to do 3 shows a week, but other guys may not
and
necessarily.
I'll say it's different when you're making $500,000 a show. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different than, I mean, some guys have to live out on the road. They're making a couple $100 a night. And if you're going to make a substantial living, you got to be out there, playing shows, including myself. I'm like that too. But I think there's a way of doing everything. And I feel like I've got it down to a science in a way, at least a way that works for me, to where I can, make a little bit of money, enough to support a family, and still stay on the road enough that you're staying halfway relevant. That's the thin line that you're trying to balance on. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can't beat that, man. And you're fortunate enough to where you can do that. And I like hearing that. I like seeing that. Like, I'm making a living at this, but it's not consuming my entire life.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because, sometimes you talk to people, especially in the music world, and it's like, oh, man, I just need a break. It's like, well, take a break. Well, if I take a break, then I'm not making money and my bills aren't getting paid.
Right.
And it's just like, you can't take a week off. Like, great, you're not working a 9 to 5 and you're doing what you love, but you're 25 and you're running yourself out. Before you know it, you're going to be 50 and still living out of a van on the road.
Let me say this: how much better off are you if you're not working a 9 to 5, but you can't take a week off? You know what I'm saying? You might as well be working a 9 to 5 and playing music when you want to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's the way I've always looked at it. And my mindset's always been, man, I'm kind of a free-spirited guy. And just like my post you was talking about earlier, man, I had a show the other night, but I was going to go fishing first, man. That's just how it was.
That was awesome, man. I see that right before we started the show, and I laughed for a good few minutes about that. I was like, yeah, he's definitely one of our people. And I told the guys about it. They had to go look it up and laugh about it. And I was just like, you can't be mad at the guy at all. I mean, like, you're living your best life out there. He's like, yeah. Got a show at 7:30, a few hours away, but got to get some therapy in,
Yeah. And there's faster routes at what I do. Here's the thing: there's no doubt about it that there is there's probably a bigger spotlight waiting for somebody that takes the route that when you're out there just 24/7 and doing it, and maybe things could have moved a little quicker for me if I'd have chosen that route. But I'm living in a way that makes me happy, that fulfills me. I'm fulfilled with my music and a professional standpoint from that side of it. But I'm also fulfilled because my family's very important to me, and I get to be a family man. So I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you can't beat that, man. You get to eat your cake and eat it too. As they say, man, that is something else. You hear all these horror stories of, I had a promising music career, but I walked away from it and became a normal Joe to raise my kids, and now my kids are grown and now they're back to chasing their dream. Or you hear the the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I got a wife and kids at home. I think maybe
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But
They may be there when I get home. Yeah.
yeah. Like almost kind of makes you think of that George Strait song, Cheyenne, when he calls home and she's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
you go ahead and stay on the road."
That's it, man.
I don't know. It's tough, and that's why I guess I'm fortunate I can do this little thing that I'm doing here with the podcast stuff, because I'm able to do all of the above. You still work my work my normal 9 to 5.
I'll say, man, I've been very blessed over the years too to have the people around me that I have around me, man. I have such a support group around me, and that's just God sent. It's all that is. That has nothing to do with me. I have, like I said, my fiance. She's God, one of the most supportive people I've ever met, and but not only her, my daughter's mom, my baby mama. I can't say enough about how supportive she is, and you don't hear that a lot, So it's my family. They're supportive. If I'm out on the road, and that's the part that nobody thinks about, especially if you have a family at home, is who's taking care of the kids, and who's, and that takes family stepping in to help with that. And again, I've been very blessed to have a lot of loving and supporting people around me, from family to friends, and heck, I go up to Chicago about once every 3 or 4 months. I've got a club that I play up there called Emerald Isle, and I've made such good friends up there. My buddy Mark, every time I come up, it's the week I'm playing. It's, hey, you flying up or are you driving? If I'm flying, he's waiting at the airport for me when the plane lands, man. And we go get breakfast and we take out, and it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing to meet people and have people believe in you and support you, man. I don't even understand it sometimes, but I'm very thankful for it.
You cannot, I gotta agree. You cannot beat a good support system, man. I know sometimes my podcasting drives my fiance up a crazy, or drives her up a wall, just because, as we were talking in the pre-show, sometimes we have a tendency to run a little long and do a little bit longer shows and stuff like that. But she's right there, man. She supports us. She supports me and what I'm doing, and like, she took it upon herself to start creating. We haven't dropped it yet, but start creating some merch stuff and coming up with ideas and everything like that. And that alone, I mean, that meant the world to me. The fact that even though sometimes my schedule drives her crazy, she's still like willing to do something that can take one thing off of my plate and help me. So having that support system, man, is something else. You cannot beat that.
Absolutely not. So on my record we just put out, I covered a Daryl Scott. So I was fortunate enough to get to cover. There's one cover song on there, and it's a song called "River Take Me." And my favorite line in the whole song, and it has been for years, is the line that says, "A man out of work only gets in the way." And God, that just resonates with me so much. And the thing about it is, a busy man may not spend every second with his family, but a man that's not busy isn't much good for anything. And you know what I'm saying? I believe in that, man. I believe a man is supposed to stay busy, and I believe that's when our hearts are flourishing the most. I think that's when we're the best versions of ourselves, is when we're out grinding, no matter what it is. If you're into whittling sticks, you need to be out in the fucking yard whittling sticks, man. That's what you need to be doing. That's when we're the best for not only ourselves, but for the people around us as well.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that 100%. Especially when you're chasing a dream, like you're chasing one down, I'm chasing one down, and it's like, when you start to even like, to some people it might be just a little anthill, but to you get that little bit of success or have something positive happen or something that's huge to you. If other people looking at it might be like, I mean, you only got 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it was a goal that I set for myself, and I hit it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
You know, you might, your song might hit the top 100 in Nashville or something like that. It might be like 98, but it's like, hey, I'm on the chart though. You know,
but I did it. Yeah. I got 1,000 more than somebody does.
Yeah,
That's how I always look at it.
No, exactly. That I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the time and everything like that. But yeah, having that support system, especially when you create a support system outside of your family, and the ones that like you, and I'm assuming that's Mark here in the chat.
It is. I didn't even know there's Mark on here.
Is that
that's him, man. That's Mark. Yeah. What's up, Mark? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, the chat's going over here. Speaking of
I just pulled that up. I'm not familiar with the platform here, but I just pulled that up. I can see him up here now.
Okay, speaking of those outside support system, Blazing, this is a friend that we've made through, and he joins us on our shows.
Yeah.
This right here, he's like a little brother to me. He's done so much behind the scenes to help me when we were first starting, and some of our first guests when we thought we were going to get into the interview game, and it was like, this show's really not much of the interview game. But our first several guests, he booked for us, man. It's amazing when you create them friendships, and then you have that support system, and they're there for you all the time, and helping you grow. And it's the same thing like they used to say back in the day. It takes a village to raise a kid.
Yeah.
The same thing when this little podcast thing. This is my baby.
It's your baby. Yeah.
Your music is kind of like your baby, and
absolutely.
You can't do it on your own. I mean, it'd be great if I could snap my finger and be as big as Joe Rogan tomorrow, but
I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here. No, probably not. I've got a fortune cookie sticker on the back of my phone here, and it says success is a team sport. Man, I took so much from that, so much so that I put it on the back of my phone. The other one says you need to work hard to be lucky.
Yeah,
both those things, man. I got them on there to read them every day. So
very, very true.
Success is a team sport, though. I like that because that's something that honestly is new to me. That's something I've had to learn to do in the past couple of years. I'm always somebody that's kind of like, get out of the way, I'll do it myself, And but there's you need a team. You need a support system, and
I'm sure some of my guys are in here right now that will tell you that I am starting to learn that lesson, that I have to start, because everything is I'll handle this, I'll handle that. We have 7 shows a week. I host 4 of the shows, and it's like, we got you, Glick. I'm slowly starting to let go of the reins, and I probably shouldn't have opened that door because they might come flooding in. But I'm learning, like, I gotta be able to count on these guys. This is my squad. They joke with me constantly. Oh, Glick's got a big ego. I call myself the champ. I have a custom-made championship belt because I have adult money and I like to do childish things with my adult money.
I love it. You should be able to.
Yeah. They tease me about that, but it's like, it's something that I'm learning, and we're a little over 3 years into the game, and in the last 3 years, a lot has changed. And, I'm just so used to doing everything on my own and being a bit of a control freak that I'm learning, like, all right, now I got a good, solid team around me. I can start to breathe a little bit and let them do their thing and just be in the background. So, yeah, man, you're not getting successful on your own. Unfortunately.
No, man.
As much as people want to think you are, but
it definitely it takes a village, just like you said, man. I like that.
But
hey, cheers to you again, man. Again, thanks for having me on, man. I'm enjoying this.
Sure, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate you being here, man. As I said, the guys teasing me, but doing this show is very humbling because it's amazing. I get excited when artists reach out to me because I'm not out here just reaching out to everybody and anybody. And a lot of, like I said, I've fallen into that algorithm on Instagram. I scroll through Instagram, and some people would be embarrassed to tell you what their algorithm is. Not me. My algorithm is all up and coming artists or old artists like Sawyer Brown and Clay Walker, stuff like that, or older artists, but a lot of up and coming, a lot of local, and a lot of different styles of music. And I love everything. I'm a music nerd. Maybe I'm a music. I don't know. I love it all.
Me too, man.
I listen to everything, and an artist will come across, and I'll click on the reel, and I'll be like, I kind of like this. Let me go check out their page. And it's like, oh, do they got a YouTube page? Let me go listen to the YouTube page, and now I want to hear more. Which is exactly what everybody I've had on here. That's with the exception of the Southern Outlaws band. Hunter actually hooked me up with those guys because I think he knew what was going to be the outcome of that show, and it was just 5 hours of drinking and having a good time. But I get excited when an artist, I message them, and it doesn't matter if they've got 100 followers or 1 million followers on Instagram. If I message them, and it's a generic AI thing, but it is what it is. If once I get past that initial and they respond back, then I start having that real conversation. But I get excited every time. It don't matter how big or small they are or anything like that. If I'm messaging you, it's because I like your music. So
yeah,
I'm always very appreciative, and the fact that you guys were like, yeah, let's go, and
here's the deal. That followers thing, man, it can be a big misconception sometimes, man. You never know who you're dealing with. That's, so up until about 2 years ago, my Facebook and all my Instagram, man, we had over 15,000 followers, man, and have been huffing. I hate to know what we would have now. And all of our accounts got hacked, and we started over from zero. So, you never know just because somebody's followers is something, man. Like I said, I've been the guy with the verified stuff and all that stuff, and then you have to start over, and it doesn't come back as quick as you want, So you never know who you're talking about. Somebody's got 1,500 followers. That don't mean they ain't been out doing some stuff. So
yeah, no, exactly. And then sometimes you see guys that have 20, 30, 40,000 followers, and then you look at their account and
they ain't playing nowhere. They ain't doing nothing. Yeah.
95% of their account is all bots and fake accounts, and it's just like, you're not even doing nothing though, man. Like, what are you doing? I'm over here. My original TikTok account, my personal page, I've got like 11 or 12,000 followers, but
yeah,
that was something that took me 4 years to grow.
Sure.
And then I started the podcast page, and it was like, here we are 3 years deep, and it's like 3,000 followers. But I know those are all real followers. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like,
and that's what I learned about. That's what I learned about Mom once I started over. Is that the ones that I have now, they're all the ones that have been following me for years and are actually engaging and stuff, man. The other ones are just people you picked up along the way, so they weren't really that important to begin with, other than from a cosmetic standpoint, if that makes any sense. But one of my favorite songwriters in Nashville, and he's somebody that I've got to know here recently and has given me advice, a guy named Gabe Lee. And if you go to Gabe Lee's Facebook, he's got 4,000 followers, 5,000 followers, man. And I promise you, he's on the top list of many of your favorite artists, man, as a songwriter in Nashville.
I think I've heard that name before.
Yeah. Asian dude. He's fucking awesome, man. He's one of my favorite. He's the guy, man.
No, that's the thing. I started doing this streaming thing, like live streaming, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago on Periscope. And I would just go live from my garage on Saturday nights and just get hammered. I was just getting hammered in my garage, hanging out with people on the internet, and it's funny because, you get in those lives and you have 500 to 1,000 people in there. They're just all watching you, all these followers. And then you transition to another platform. And it's like, I got 3,000 followers. Well, 300 of them people follow you. Then you transition to something else, and then you get like 100. But I say that because like this gentleman right here, and I use gentleman very loosely, motherfucker.
What's up, man? What's up?
He's one of my OG followers. This cat has been with me since I first started on Periscope. And he's a friend. I call him a friend. I consider him a friend. And it's like. you really been sticking with me all this time, you know, hanging out, doing all my dumb shit with me. I say that all the time, Blaze. Quality over quantity, man. But
That's right.
yeah, no, you never know. And like I said, it doesn't matter to me how many followers a person has. If I like their music or if I come across them and I like what they're doing, and then I actually get a response back, I get excited. And
Sure.
especially if it starts moving towards, they're definitely they're interested in popping up on the show. I start to get more excited because I like to hear the stories. I like to. The struggle, not necessarily the struggle, because if you're doing what you love and you're and whatnot, it's your journey. I like to hear your journey up to this point.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, getting to watch your journey go on and you continue to grow and expand and get bigger and better. It's like, hey, I'm in the background, but I'm getting to watch this guy do his thing or this young lady do her thing or whatever.
Right.
And get to be a part of that, even behind the scenes or whatever, be a part of that support system of some really good people. And I got to say, doing this podcasting thing, I have got to meet some pretty cool people over the last couple of years that you in the real world you wouldn't have the opportunity to meet.
Sure.
You go up to Chicago and Mark's there. He's like, all right, I got you. Whatever you need, I got you.
Man, oh my gosh, the people I've met on the road, man. You wouldn't believe. That's the thing, man. The world is presented to us from such a cynical place sometimes, man. But I couldn't tell you the towns that I've been in when I've been on the road for a week, looking as rough as I've ever looked in my life. And somebody come up to you after a show and be like, "Hey, I got an extra bedroom. If you guys want to crash there instead of the van tonight?" Like me, like I look like I could murder you in your sleep. I mean, just open their doors to you. Just open, you know what I mean? Just please come in. Have breakfast ready for you in the morning. It's just the world is not what it's presented to us as, man. There's a lot of beautiful and
there really are. There's a lot of really good people out there in the world, but you got to be careful meeting people after a show. That's how you end up on a true crime documentary, Josh.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's worked so far. It works in my advantage that I'm like 6'2", 300 pounds.
Guys, Blazing, you called it earlier. He might just be my twin.
Yeah.
The guys on the shows call me a Sasquatch. I'm 6'2", 300. I'm 6'2", about 300, maybe a little over 300 myself.
Okay, right on. We're probably about the same size then. Yeah.
I don't ever picture myself. And we're equal size. Do you look at yourself in the mirror and go, God, I'm a freak of nature. I'm a monster. Or because I don't ever think I'm as big as what I am until I see pictures of me with people. And it's like,
yeah, no, definitely, man. I've struggled with my weight, my body image my whole life, man. So I go back and forth with it, man. Just full disclosure. But I'm a big guy. I'm the oldest of 4 boys on my mom's side. So I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and I'm the smallest of 4 boys. So like all my younger brothers are twice my size. They're ginormous, man. And it's just who we are. We're big guys, and it's taken me a long time to find the beauty in being myself.
I have. Well, I have. Shut up, please. I have 3.5 sisters. I say half because one of my sisters is trans.
Okay, right on.
And my brother, and I call him my broster. He's my half brother, half sister.
Okay.
So but I tower over. I am a monster compared to all 4 of them. My older sister, I have one older sister. She's like 4 years older than me. God, you're older than me, Joe. But she introduces everybody, all her friends and everything, as her big baby brother. Because I've got a good foot on her and easily almost 200 pounds on her weight wise. So, so it's like I'm the monster of the family at the end of the day. What?
It's more to love.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Nikki, viral perfume.
Again, it's real life here. You know?
Yeah. Same, man.
Sorry. I'm currently doing my show out of the bedroom just because
I'm in the basement. You would freak out if you seen everything that's around me.
How many girls you got in cages down there?
3. No,
oh, nice.
I'm just kidding.
You got to really get your numbers up to like 6. Unfortunately, I had to put it in my basement because cages are getting a little full. And
no, there is a teddy bear fort built with chairs and covers all the way around me, so it's pretty wild down here.
Unfortunately we don't. I upgraded from my last apartment into this condo, but I don't have a place to set up a quote unquote studio yet. So my fiance and I, we want to get a house. Whether we rent or whatever the case may be. And that's one of the things is that we want to make sure I have my own space where I can set up and and do everything and kind of have my own quote unquote studio. But in the meantime, as I said, I am a fiance. I am a dad, and real life happens behind me during the show all the time. So
that's awesome, man. I think it's awesome.
Cages and ball game. We are a deprived group of individuals here at the network. So no, like I said, it's a good feeling. I want to ask you, and I want to play one of your songs here before we get into it. But I want to ask you about your songwriting and stuff like that. And obviously, it's a boring question. It's a cliche question, but it's one of those questions that everybody's always curious about when somebody sits down and writes and their where their head is, where their thoughts are, and
all right, here's your drink.
Do you write songs that are based off of things that have happened to you, or are you more of a basing it off of, I want to write something that somebody can relate to? But we'll get into that here in a minute or two. Oh man, I like all 3 of these songs, and I don't know which one. I'm gonna start. Well, this one's a little bit slower. I like this song, man. This song really hit home for me. Not because of where I am now, but where I was a few years ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a real quick break. I'm gonna go refill, and but I got one of Josh Merritt's song here. It's "Easier Alone." Enjoy.
Oh,
I love this song, man. This is a really good song.
Thank you, man.
I'm one of my favorites. But we'll be back here in just a few minutes with more from Josh. We're gonna be hanging out.
Waking up again and I'm sleeping in the middle of the bed, thinking about the night you were here and I was sleeping on the edge. Laundry, it don't pile up like it used to, and all the things I bitched about I still do. It's easier alone, and I ain't never wanted easy. And I ain't never wanted easy. I know I must have said this once before. It's easier alone. Why don't anyone believe me? Oh, I like the nights this quiet. Why don't anybody buy it?
And welcome back to Glick's House of Music. We got Josh Merritt joining us tonight. You guys know me. You know me. I'm Glick. All right. Sorry to bring your Friday night down. Promise I won't do it again. But you know I do it at least once every Friday night, maybe twice. But welcome back to the show, everybody. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. We're hanging out with Josh, having a good time. But yeah, we have found my long lost twin brother, apparently. But I love that song, man. That is a really pretty song, really beautiful song. And the video is the video is damn, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, man. That video is probably as important to me as anything that I've ever done in my entire life, man. That's the God's honest truth. That's my great aunt that we got to play in that video, and she was my great aunt growing up. She was more like my grandmother. And so when I went on the weekends to grandma's house, I went to her house, and I was very close to her growing up and have been my whole life. And she's 83 years old, I believe. And the song "Easier Alone" I wrote from a personal place about getting over a breakup, getting over a relationship that I was in. And when we went to try to figure out what to do for the video, we kind of had two options. We could play by play that song. It's one of those songs that, like, you can either do like scene for scene what the song says, or we could flip it on its head and try to find another avenue on it, and use a little bit of allegory, which is what I chose to do. And something that's very important to me that I do a lot when I'm home and on the road is I try to go play a lot of the senior care centers in my hometown, and I'll pick a month where I'll do one a week for a little while, and I've got a certain set of them that I do that I'll just go in and play for an hour, and that's something that's very important to me for a lot of reasons. It's one of those things that's near and dear to my heart. And I was on my way to go do one of those, and Taylor Graves, who shot the video and directed and edited the video from Fallback Films, called me, and we'd already had it on the schedule that I wanted to do a music video, but we really hadn't figured out what we wanted to do yet. And I was on my way to do this nursing home, to play at this nursing home. And I said, man, I'm not sure. And then I hung up with him, and it hit me. I was like, oh man, that's the video right there. And I immediately thought of my great aunt Wilma, and she just lost her husband about 2 years ago. They were married over 60 years, spent almost their entire lives.
Yeah.
Never spent a night apart ever. And then he passed away, and she spent the last 2 years figuring out how to move on with her life and how to have a life without him, you know. And I thought, man, if that's not the epitome of loneliness and figuring out how to get over loneliness, then I don't know what is. And so anyway, that video is very special to me for a lot of reasons.
I was going to ask you, because I assumed that was a relative, that was a family member.
Yeah.
Which again, yeah, like you said, you wrote the song about a breakup, but the video, an excellent job flipping it on its head.
Thank you.
Yeah, and hitting it with the Uno reverse card, because the song is about one thing, but the video is about something totally different. Still had to do with what the song was about. And when I first watched the video and listened to I watched the video and I was like, God, this is a beautiful video. I'm totally getting this, and you don't see that a lot these days. You don't see relationships, like they had back in the day, where they would get married at 18 and they were literally together for the next 70 years, whatever the case. However, so I was like, all right, I see it and then the more I listened to the song, it was like, yeah, wow, I was just there just 5-6 years ago. I was in these shoes, like trying to figure out, where do I go from here after a and it's such a beautiful song. And the video itself, it stands alone as its own thing. So again, kudos to you on both aspects. Wrote a great song, and you had an idea for an even better video. And I love what you just said about one of the things that you do, is going to play at the assisted living and nursing homes and stuff like that, because that is something that I used to live in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm born and raised in Ohio, but I lived in South Carolina for about 10 years down in Charleston, and I worked for work in pest control. And completely out of my wheelhouse, by the way, I'm a construction guy. God bless you for being a former HVAC guy, because purposely stayed away from HVAC. I learned just enough to be dangerous when it came to HVAC, but I stayed away from it on purpose. So God bless you for being one of those guys.
I hear you, man.
I can do everything, man. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none type deal. I can do everything. I've been doing construction since I was 12 years old, and I'm 42 now. So do the math. But no, one of my favorite things working for Orkin and was I had 4 nursing homes on my route, and after the first time I went there, I was like, all right, when I do these nursing homes, I'm going to dedicate an entire day, sometimes 2 days, to these nursing homes, because it wasn't like I had to do anything job wise. I would just spend the whole day there visiting and chit chatting with people, and it was something that I still want to do. Kind of create that charity, nonprofit, whatever the case may be, because I tell you what, there's so many people that are just dumped there, and their family don't care about them no more. They're just dumped there because they don't want to deal with the hassle, and all they want is somebody to talk to and somebody to chit chat with. And I'm the type of guy, I love hearing the stories from back in the day. I love hearing, growing up on a farm with 18 brothers and sisters and going to work when you were like 13, or going to war, or what it was like. I love chit-chatting with people, and man, the older generation, man, they got stories for days, man.
My gosh,
they're so damn appreciative when if somebody will just give them 5 minutes, let alone when I would go and I'm like, look, y'all, I'm here from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock. I'm eating breakfast with y'all. I'm eating lunch with you guys, and I might just eat dinner with you guys, because I'm going to hang out with you, because I love that, and it's something that I wanted to do, and I was on the verge of doing when I came back to Ohio. I had a couple things that I was working on, and then COVID hit, and we all know how that went for everybody. And I haven't been able to get back into it. So that's really cool that you do that and go and play and give them a source of entertainment for a little bit. I can appreciate that.
My great grandmother, I was very close with her, and when I was probably 16 or 17 years old, she got sent to live at a assisted living home, and one of the first things I ever did plan for people, like in front of people, was I would go once a week and play for her. It was something that brought her peace, and I got in the habit of doing that. And the whole nursing, I would go to her room to play, and she loved attention. My granny did. And so the nursing home, finally, they said, well, hey, I tell you what, everybody's coming down the hallway to this room. They said, we'll just put you in the foyer so that you can play for everybody and bring everybody up. And my granny Nellie, she wouldn't hear any part of it. She said, "You come out of my room and play." She loved everybody coming to her room, to have to come listen to me, man. She loved the attention of it. So
I love her, man. I love her already. I don't even know her. And I love her. That's that other thing. That older generation, man. They have that. Man, they have that energy, that
warmness. It's like a warmness. Yeah.
They're ornery as hell. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
But they're also the kindest, most generous people in the world at the same time. And that was one of the things. And I was fortunate enough to get to spend a little bit of time in Charleston, and I was very fortunate with the job I had and the location I worked, because I not only did I get to do those nursing homes and I get to hang out with those people, and I knew people like that. That like your Granny Nellie. He's here. You got to come down here.
You got to come down here to listen. Yeah. So.
But
yeah, now that I've been playing, man, I make it a regular part of my thing, and I don't get to do it. Obviously, things get busy sometimes, and I'll look up and think, man, I haven't done that in a while, and I make it a point to, if I'm home for longer than a month, I try to at least hit one or two. Man, it's just something. And here's the thing, man, these nursing homes, they have an allowed budget from the state where they're allowed to hire entertainment and stuff like that. And I told myself and this isn't bragging, I'm just saying it to say, so hoping somebody else will do too. I told myself a long time ago, if I ever got in a position where I was playing, that I would never, that was going to be my form of charity, whatever it was, man. And no matter how big or small this thing gets, man, that's going to be something that I go out to give back a little bit, man. So what I'll do a lot of times is I'll take the budget that they have set aside for that, and I'll just ask, if there's a resident in the facility that's a little less fortunate than others, because there always is, somebody doesn't have any family and they're just living off their month to month from the state or whatever, and I'll just donate it to them.
Yeah. That's awesome, because again, that was something that I wanted to do, and that's why I did it on my work time, and I scheduled myself that way, because like the administrator or whatever the hell they call them, and the nursing home, they're like, we could pay you to do this. I don't want to be paid to do this.
Right.
As much as they enjoy it, I probably enjoy it even more.
Absolutely, because, man.
I get to come and chit chat. I love talking. Obviously, I host 4 podcasts. Who does? I love to talk. I get to chit chat with really cool people, and also at the same time, the people that you can tell, the people who don't get family that come and visit them anymore, and that 10-minute, 15-minute conversation or whatever, or if I'd be in the lunchroom hanging out, just talking to a whole group of them. That means more to me than any amount of money you're going to give me at the end of the day, just to see that little bit of happiness, or something that, maybe the rest of the month they were just existing, and I'm here once a month, and they have that true happiness means more than you guys could ever pay me at the end of the day. And like I said, I like to learn, I like to question things. I like to learn about things. So, when people are starting to share their stories and their upbringing and what it was like, and I'm like, I'm getting firsthand account. I'm not reading it out of a history book or looking or watching something on the internet. I'm getting a firsthand account of what it was like to be there. I remember there was a gentleman I became very good friends with. He was 14 years old. Stole his brother's birth certificate and enlisted into the Marine Corps.
Holy wow!
He was in, what was it? I think it was World War I. World War II. And then he was in a couple other engagements. And I'm like, he was a baby, man. 14 years old.
Wow.
And got sent to fight the fucking Germans. 15 years old in the Marines.
Jesus.
I can't come here. You're gonna have to wait.
I'll take a picture.
Okay. That's cash. He is playing video games. Yeah, to hear his story, I'm like, dude, at 14 years old, I was working, but I mean, like, shoot, at 14 years old, I was still thought girls were gross, and
Sure. Sure.
Like, you're killing Nazis at 14, and I'm just,
I can't even fathom it, man. I can't even put it together, man.
Yeah, like I'm baling hay and playing. What?
Banana.
Oh my god!
I completed something in a lab,
Mm-hmm.
and a banana came out of the humans. Then they turned me into a banana. then I could banana.
Nice. He's obsessed with this new game or this game on the Xbox, Goat Simulator, or something like that.
So, yeah.
Goat Simulator 3. My bad, bro.
Can I snack?
Okay.
Did you eat?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so yeah, it's like, wow, dude, like, you're pretty badass. I'm kind of lame over here, But no, but when it comes to songwriting for you,
mm-hmm.
Does a lot of it come from personal experiences, or are you like just writing from the heart, or is it just sometimes you're like, I want to write a song and I want to make something that might be relatable? I'm always curious about with the songwriting aspect.
Yeah, a lot of so I've got 2 records out. I put a record out in 2020. It's called Reynolds Station, which is where I grew up, and that's Reynolds Station is my coincidentally enough, it's my great aunt Wilma's farm in South Hancock County, Kentucky, which is where I grew up. And I spent a lot of time with her growing up because my mom and her brothers and sisters, all my family, were deep victims of the methamphetamine crisis that's went on for the past 20 years here in Western Kentucky. And when I was a kid, man, that's the type of thing that we grew up around. So they were dealing with that. So we'd go to, Wilma Marshall's house and on the weekends to get away from that. And so my first record was a concept record that kind of the vein of it, all the songs had to do with that. I have to do a lot with addiction and that type of thing, and some of them are just good down home songs about growing up in rural Kentucky. My second record was a relationship record, and I could easily call it a breakup record, but it's not about a breakup. What I found was in the course of this 2-year relationship that I was in, I had written songs from the start to the middle to the somewhere else toward the middle to the end. I didn't realize it until after the relationship was over, and I went back and looked and was looking for songs, and I thought, man, I've unknowingly documented this relationship by writing songs, not on purpose, but not even knowing it. I've got a song that I wrote in the beginning of this relationship when I was in love, and
the honeymoon phase.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase. I've got a song that I wrote when we were pissing each other off. The Give It To Me. That's what that's about. It's about being passive aggressive and pissed off at your partner and trying to figure out how to navigate that. I've got songs about us breaking up. I've got songs about 6 months after we broke up where I'm trying to put myself back together. That's easier alone. And then I've got songs like The Path that are about, they're redemption songs about picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and moving on, man. So that was a concept record in itself too. And so my 2 studio records that I have out are both concept records that I wrote about very personal things in my life. So both those records are complete, almost detailed stories of personal accounts of my life. So
that makes the music. And again, speaking as a fan, somebody who just loves music in general, that makes the music so much better, in my opinion. At the end of the day, the fact that a singer will write from a personal space and put it out there. I mean, you're putting yourself out there, and as a fan, you may not realize that, like I'm a brand new fan. I'll be 100% honest. You got a fan moving forward at the end of the day, but you know, I like Give It To Me. It's one of the songs I actually have tonight to play. I like the song. But now that you said that was like, we're at that stage where we're just, I woke up facing the left instead of the right, and now she's pissed off. And,
right.
And now like I'm gonna look at that song differently now and listen to it differently now. And it's gonna make me like it even more because it does come from a personal space. And
absolutely.
I think that when you hear a musician or a songwriter say like this comes from personal experience, in my opinion, it's like that makes it more relatable for me because I might have listened to the song and already heard it this way, and this is how it makes me feel. But to get almost get kind of validation, like, oh shit, he or she was really going through it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember when I was at that same place, a couple years back, and now that song means even more to me to know that you're really putting your personal life out there and your personal experiences out there. Like, damn, all right, so you're really writing songs for people to, and not only enjoy, but to really feel.
Sure.
As a music guy, I say it all the time. I miss the days of songs that told stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a story song. That's the songs I love and try to make. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I've noticed, and like I said, brand new fan here. I'm still digging into it and diving in and listening and stuff. But that's one thing that I've noticed. And it's like, man, yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Luke Bryan can get 47 writers and write a song, and we got to include a pickup truck. We got to include a pretty girl. We got to include whiskey, and maybe some fishing and a bonfire.
Yeah, it'll sell every time. I don't understand it, but it will.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because as a podcaster, I'm like, we're having fun. We're putting real content out here and having a good time with it and everything like that. Well, some jerk off will go to a Walmart and pick a fight with a poor cashier, and all of a sudden he's the biggest podcaster in the world. You know what I mean?
I know.
Logan Paul, I'm talking to you jerk.
Right. I know it doesn't make any sense, man. But yeah, that's where I love to write songs from, though, man. Is that space, and I'll tell you another good example. I just put a video out explaining how I wrote my song "Let You Go," which is a song off of 206. That's the last record that we put out too, and that one was very interesting because I was in the stages where the person that I'd broken up with had moved on, and I was having a lot of trouble moving on. I just it was one of them deals where in the beginning I was like, oh yeah, get out of here, whatever, and then you reach this space where you're very lonely and you're just in this in between time to where you're really having trouble letting this person go and moving on. And the way I wrote that song, this is the honest truth, is I was having such trouble with it that one day I said, man, we got to get over this. This is insane. And I got a notepad out and I wrote at the top of the notepad, I said, the real reasons that I can't let you go. And I just started making dots on the page, and I would just list like what's the real why really are you hanging on to this?
Yeah.
And when I wrote it down, it was more reasons like I don't want to be by myself. It was more reasons like I don't want to change and look at who I am because now this relationship didn't work. That means either she was wrong or I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I have to look at myself in the mirror and figure out how to navigate that to move on. And, and then some of it was from a pride standpoint. One of the lines in there is I've got more I need to say. And sometimes somebody gets away and you're like, I'm not done with you yet. I got more than I need to tell you about yourself. I've got all this. I haven't got all this off my chest yet, you know. And so I that's what that was. It wasn't a song at all. I sit down and wrote a list to try to help myself. And after I got the list down, I thought I did the songwriter thing where I was like, you know what, there's a song here. And I just put it into song form. That's where that song was born from. And it's one of my favorite ones. It wasn't like a single quality song. But it was one of my favorite ones off of the record we put out a couple months ago.
Yeah, no, and that's something that anybody who's been in a relationship 100% can relate to. We've all been there.
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't matter if your relationship was 6 months long or 26 years. You know, we've all been there at some point in our life where you're mad because they've moved on, and it's like,
right.
You almost have that real. Like, you know, like Michael Jackson once said, man in the mirror. You have that real conversation with the man in the mirror and go, why am I still fucking hung up? What is going on? You know, and yeah, no, that's, man.
It's tough,
I don't think I've heard that one. Yeah, I don't know if I've heard that one yet, but now I'm going to definitely listen to it.
Yeah, check it out, man.
I'm slowly, you know, thumbing my way through, I'm listening to a lot of new different artists right now, and it's you know, I'm digging it, man. Like I'm being introduced to a whole new music scene out there, and I've seen it, and I think I seen it today, and I was like, sounds a little slow.
Yeah.
You know, Friday nights I'm like, I'm gonna give you guys one, maybe two.
Sure,
you know,
sure.
When I would do like the full blown music show, you get at least two. Like, I'm gonna pull the e-brake, but usually I try to keep it fun and
keep it up. Yeah, keep it up. I get it, man.
But I lost my train of thought. Sorry, that happens.
No, you're all good, brother.
Words are hard. That's what we say around here. I want to ask you, because this is something that I always ask artists. Where would you classify yourself as far as a genre, or do you pigeonhole yourself into a genre? Are you you know, because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was telling him about you, and I said, yeah, you know, I think it's going to be a fun interview. I think he's going to be cool to hang out with. And he's like, what kind of music does he play? I was like, he's kind of country, a little bluesy, you know, and you know, with you can see you can hear in some of your stuff your influence from bluegrass and a couple of things. But where would you classify yourself, man? Where would you throw yourself into as far as what genre, or do you at all, or you just say, "Oh, fuck it, I'm a musician and I play music"?
Man, I have no fucking clue, to be honest with you, man. And I think that's one of the toughest things navigating my career is that I have so many influences, and my sound definitely reflects that. I can hear that in my sound, but I don't have a clear path. Like when we're in the studio, I don't have a clear thing that we're aiming for. I am just making music and kind of seeing. It just kind of comes out how it comes out. But then when you get to the other side of that, and you're trying to promote that, especially with the way distribution works these days, is you have to find a path. They want you to say what this is, and I mean it's if we have to throw it in a box, it's country for sure. But man, honestly, when I was making 206, and by the time we get to the end of it, I was leaning more toward 90s rock, you know, like I was hearing more like not the heavy stuff, but more like a 90s rock influence.
Like an alternative rock?
Yeah, like, for that record than I was anything, you know. Now here's the thing, my accent's thick, I'm from Kentucky, so it don't matter what I do, it's gonna come out country as cow shit. But as far as from a musical standpoint, man, you know, I was hearing a lot that definitely, no doubt about it, 206 is dipped and soaked in 90s influence in general. My song Let You Go that I was just talking about, you go back and listen to that. It's piano driven. It's got a very, not on purpose. Again, there was no points to be that we were leaning toward when we were making the record, but after listening to it, it's got a very Garth Brooks, like piano vibe to it almost. You know,
like kind of like his like Red Strokes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Or the dance, you know, the big piano break in front of that, you know, and so there's that going on. Coincidentally enough, the Easier Alone, we recorded 2 versions of that song. I wasn't happy with the first version that we recorded. We actually went back and re-recorded it, which the re-recorded version is what ended up on the record. And when we went to make that, I remember one of the things I said in the studio is I was like, man, I'm hearing a Wallflowers meets like a Eric Church Springsteen vibe, which is very crazy. 2 kind of opposite things, but kind of the same things at once. And you know, if you listen to that song, there's definitely influences of that in there, man. So
nice.
So
it's brings me to my next path that I want to go down with you. And I know you're kind of limited on time here.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
But I do want to play another real quick song, and when we come back, I want to ask you. I do want to ask you about your influences, and whatnot. And there was something else I was going to ask you. It'll come back to me, but I definitely do want to ask you. Speaking of Give It To Me, you guys, any of you guys who are listening Wednesday night, you guys got to hear this. We played it Wednesday night on the show, and no complaints. So no complaints is good. Everybody seemed to like it. We got a few compliments out of the chatters box as well. So we'll be right back here in a few minutes. Like I said, you're welcome to stay as long as you want. I'm not gonna kick you out anytime soon, but I understand if you got to leave. But
sure.
But we're gonna be back here in just a few minutes, and here's Josh with "Give It To Me." We were just talking about it.
Until you suffocate, can't let it out, so you decide to keep it in. Honey, you know that you got something we should talk about, but you refuse, so baby, here we go again. Thinking you're sly, but I can feel it coming off of you. Hold up your smile and crook and fake and little grin. Wanna ignore it while you're steady standing next to me. Buck up and lay it on me, hit me on the chin. Oh, won't you tell me what you're thinking about? Give it to me, like how you're feeling inside. Give it to me, and if we can, then we can talk about it. Nowhere to run to and nowhere to hide. And I know I said that I could feel your body trembling from the beginning. I could tell that we were true, but you got a problem and I feel it getting close to me. What in the fuck are you expecting me to do? I'll help you bleed if it is that what you were seeking here. I'll hold your neck until I didn't hear a sound. You look perplexed, like living with me wasn't meant to be. Baby, it's I'm the one you didn't need around. Oh, give it to me. Oh, won't you tell me what you're thinking about? Give it to me, like how you're feeling inside. Give it to me, and if we can, then we can talk about it. Nowhere to
gentlemen. Let's go. Another killer song. The video is amazing. That couple of that video, man, they really nailed it. You know.
Yeah, and they really did. My friend Christian Potts wrote the script for that. I went on a vacation last summer with my fiance to Denver, Colorado, and we ended up going up to the Stanley Hotel and visiting the Stanley Hotel. And I had actually, up to that point, never seen the movie The Shining, which is what The Shining is based off of, the Stanley Hotel. Mm-hmm. I went to go visit that hotel because it's also where they shot all the scenes from Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. And I'm obsessed. That's a staple of my childhood, man.
Yeah, you and I go to the Stanley for two different reasons. You go for that, I go for The Shining.
No, we literally showed up, and the whole hotel, like the tours and all the shit's based around The Shining and Stephen King. Yeah. And they do also have like a little shrine to Dumb and Dumber too, but it's much smaller. But I literally, the whole point, we were up there looking for things to do, and I was like, we have to go see that hotel because it's where they shot Dumb and Dumber. Yeah. So again, we're there for very different reasons. But I'd never even seen The Shining up until that point. And then after I visited the hotel, we actually went back to our hotel that night and watched it, and I became kind of obsessed with it. And so months later, we're trying to think of a music video to do with this, and I had that in mind. So that music video is actually very loosely, it's not leaning, very loosely based off of The Shining. It's the whole point, the whole reason we did it in a hotel room. It's the whole reason we emphasized on a specific hotel room. In the movie, it was a different number, but we chose 206 because that was the name of the record. But anyway, so that video is actually loosely based off The Shining.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. You can see the references to The Shining. Again, man, you know, I love, and that's the other thing I love about you guys. You guys and the up and comers and in the local scene, that you guys are having fun, and you guys are making videos that I'm a little bit older. I remember when MTV and VH1 played music videos, and it wasn't trash reality television and fucking Carson Daly with TRL. You know, we actually got up. It was music videos 24/7.
Right.
And a lot of the older artists, you know, I grew up in the 80s. I still love 80s music to this day. I love the 90s music, early 2000s, you know, whatnot. And they made these videos that corresponded with their music. And like, you know, we've played two of them tonight so far. And again, they went along with the music. You know, Tracy Lawrence did that back in the day. He did that whole Quantum Leap thing, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that about Tracy Lawrence. But it's a really cool video. It's a fun song. It's got that almost rock guitar but blues guitar riff in it. I love a good guitar riff, man. You're gonna get me right now with a good guitar riff.
That's Jack Roosh. Jack Roosh is a big studio guy down in Nashville right now. He's in the Daniel Donato camp of just if that name doesn't ring a bell, there's a class of guitar players in Nashville that are just above and beyond, and Jack Roosh is one of those guys. We were very lucky. He played on my first record run on station, and I was very lucky to have him come back and lay all the lead guitar work for this last record as well.
Yeah. Despite what the song is about, it's a fun jam. Like it's one of those songs that, you know, I know what it's about. I hear the lyrics, but I can fucking put it on and crank that sumbitch up as loud as it's gonna go, and just hit the backcountry road and roll, man.
That's what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the slapper on the record,
obviously. Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah, which is exactly what it is. Yeah, it's exactly. Or if I'm sitting in traffic, and it's a nice day, and I put my windows down, and it comes up, turn it up so everybody around me hears it, and they're like,
Yeah, hell yeah.
"You're in your 40s, bro. Turn it down. You got gray in your beard. Okay, that's my shit. We fucking jam out, all right?
Hell yeah. Fuck them.
You know, leave me alone. Mind your business. I'm not hurting nobody over here.
That's right.
But,
Yeah.
I do want to ask you though, man. Like, some of your who are some of your biggest influences? Like, you know, outside of personal influences, you know, like you spoke earlier with growing up in that bluegrass scene, but you know, coming up as an artist, and obviously we all have, you know, me. I can't carry a goddamn tune. I sing my ass off. If I'm in the shower, I'm in the car. I'm bigger than the Beatles at the end of the day. I'm better than Freddie Mercury. I got the best voice in the world. I know I can carry a tune bucket. I got a guitar that's become a hat rack. I don't know how to play this song. so yeah, it's like, I'll stick to what I do best, and that's talk. You know, I got a nice voice, and I got the gift of gab. I'll do what I do best.
Yeah.
But who are your influences? Like the big you know, the big rock stars, country musicians, whatever, the big musicians when you were growing up as a kid, who you were like, man, I really love their sound. I'd like to, or even not necessarily as a kid, but when you started getting into the music world, you're like, man, I really love their sound. I'd like to kind of, I don't want to copy it, but I kind of want to take a little bit from them, a little bit from them, maybe a little bit from here and a little bit there.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's why an artist is made. That right there. That everyone is made from their influences. I truly believe that. So I grew up. I was dipped and soaked in '90s country, man, and I still am. '90s country music is just it's what pumps my heart, man.
And the greatest music of all time.
I think so. I think so, man. I cover a lot of '90s country in a lot of my bar gigs where I'm playing longer sets. There's a lot of '90s country in those. So, but Travis Tritt was a huge influence of mine, man. I grew up on guys like George Strait. George Strait, ever since I was a kid, was a big influence of mine. And then the older I got, the more I became enamored. I'd say up into my 20s, I became just enamored and the lesser known singer-songwriter guys, man. And I fell in love with guys like John Prine. And man, I'm such a John Prine fan. And it's so weird because I didn't really fall in love with his music and what he was about again until I was probably in my early 20s, mid 20s, somewhere in there. But he's probably one of my biggest influences of all time as far as the music that I make. And the music that I make is more progressive in the way of like a '90s country or something, as far as the way the music is written. But the way that I write is definitely pulled from my influences like John Prine and Todd Snyder. I'm a huge Todd Snyder fan.
Okay, yeah, I know that name too.
Yeah, I love those guys. And again, it's because of their storytelling abilities, man. I enjoy so much. Those two in particular, John Prine and Todd Snyder, man. I've never seen anybody, and I would love to be able to do it better. And I hope to be able to write a record that I can at least say, hey, you know, I gave it my best what for to make a record like that. But their best ability, man, is they can write songs that are so lighthearted and almost funny, but they're about a serious topic that you get the point of after it's done. Like,
exactly.
It's insane to me. It's to me, it's top tier writing that no one does. And it's just, it's to this day amazes me, man. John Prine's got songs like Sam Stone that are about, you know, a veteran that's came home to a country that you know doesn't support him and inevitably dies at the end of the song with a needle hanging out of his arm. Like it's and you listen to that song and you're like, what the fuck am I listening to? You know, and then you switch over and then he's got songs like I mean Paradise and you know it's just all over the place, man. I'm a big John Prine fan, man. Love the singer-songwriter stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't it's funny, Chris Stapleton, for instance. People don't realize he's been writing songs. Some of the biggest songs he had a part in or wrote, and then all of a sudden,
another big influence of mine. By the way, I've been following Chris Stapleton since I was in high school, and if you do the math on that, that's long before he was ever ever released Traveler. Man, I've been a big fan of Chris Stapleton.
Hey, big ups to your wife, Jaravici. Chris Ledoux,
Yeah.
I love Chris Ledoux. I love Chris Ledoux.
Oh my gosh,
Sammy Kershaw,
Sammy Kershaw. I'm a huge Sammy Kershaw fan as well.
Yeah, as a guy who thought he was going to be a bull rider at one point.
Oh yeah.
I've wrote a few bulls in my life. That's all we listened to was Chris Ledoux, and it was just like,
yeah.
And it's funny because again, a guy that he was a bull rider. You never would have thought that Chris Ledoux could carry a tune in a bucket, write a song, or fucking pick a guitar. And then this some bitch just puts out album after album after album of great songs. You know what I mean? But like I said, Chris Stapleton, man. People are like, "Oh yeah, I love Chris Stapleton," and it's like, "Oh, do you though?" But did you know that he wrote this song? Or he wrote? No, he didn't. He did. He was in the business way before he came out and let that fucking. I love his voice. That's the other thing. Artist.
Yeah.
Not only obviously there's so much that goes into being a musician, whether being able to play an instrument, write a song, and a voice. I love that, like bluesy, gravelly, just rock style of voice on a male singer. Say on a male singer specifically because I might be a little weirded out if I'm listening to the radio one day and I hear a song and I'm like, oh man, this guy sounds great, and then I go look him up and it's like,
it might be cool as fuck though, man. You see some Barbie chick come out with a graveler, it might be cool,
I listen to everything, but my and as I've been told, my wheelhouse is rock and country. Rock, country, blues, like that's my wheelhouse.
There's a vein for that right now for sure, though, man. That gravel, man. You listen to Teddy Swims
that have that in their voice? It's still feminine though, but they Lizzie, Lizzie Hale, Marina Brinks from In This Moment, even Haley Williams from Paramore.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, she hits that raspy, little gravelly. There are some ladies out there that have it, and it's fantastic. I listen to everything. It's funny because I'll get talking to people about music, and they're like, "What's your favorite style of music?" And I said, "In all honesty, man, I love the '50s. Man, I love the '50s. I wish I would have been alive back then. You know what I mean?"
Ray Charles, a huge influence of mine, man. Huge influence of mine. Yeah.
You can't go wrong with it. There's so many amazing, talented artists. I love Motown. I love R&B. But I always kind of, I shock people because they see me and they're like, "You look like a giant Sasquatch that just lumbered out of the woods to buy a case of beer," and then I'm listening to like freaking the Temptations or Tupac or something. They're like, "The hell are you doing?"
I love it too, though, man. I love it too. You listen to like Teddy Swims? Are you familiar with Teddy Swims?
Oh, dude, I'm a closeted Teddy Swims fan.
I love Teddy Swims. I'll tell anybody, man. He's the guy.
Part of me, I love his voice. I love his sound, but there's also a part of me that kind of is like, I bet he's a douchebag in real life.
I've met him, man. He's a sweetheart. You'd be surprised, man.
That's the thing. Yeah, I love Teddy Swims. I remember watching his TikToks before he really blew up.
Yeah,
I was like, this cat has something. And when he was doing all his covers and stuff like that, I was like, this cat really has something about him that. And then he just like we talked about earlier, that boom, it felt like it was overnight. All of a sudden, bang, he's everywhere.
It's nuts, man. It's nuts. I've been following him for a long time too, man. And I love, man. I've got to go to several of his shows and the smaller venues when he was doing that. And he's one of those guys, man, that like if there's younger kids in the crowd, and it's not just like a publicity stunt where he's trying to make himself look good. He leans toward the younger kids, man. He'll give them his hat. He'll give them some, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not, you could tell it's not like something he's planned out or something he's just trying to get people riled up over, man. You can tell he's genuinely.
Claire,
Dan Seals is my
name many people bring up. I love me some Dan Seals.
So I've got a Dan Seals song that I do. I know Claire, and she's a very good friend of mine.
What Dan Seals do?
Everything that glitters isn't gold. Yeah. And
no way! Is it on YouTube?
Man. No, I don't think I have a version out of it because I was gonna put a version, a cover version of that song on my record 206. We were gonna do a cover of it, and last minute we opted not to do it because we only really had the budget because of licensing and everything to do one cover, and we felt like that "River Take Me," which was the Daryl Scott song that I covered on the record, was a better fit for the record. The storyline of the record. But I haven't said this publicly yet, but I'm going into the studio probably in a month or two, and we're going to do not a full album, but like an EP.
Oh, nice.
And, an acoustic-driven EP.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm most definitely going to do a version of that song. So
I say go grab your guitar right now. Let's do a Glick's House of Music exclusive.
I would. I honestly, I don't have one with me. I'm at my fiance's house. We live separately, and I don't have a guitar with me. I would love to do that if I had one.
I love that song. I know it's one of his bigger hits. I love that song, and I love the one that he did with Marie Osmond, "Meet Me in Montana."
Oh yes, man.
I love those songs, and those are two. And it's funny because Dan Seals came up because just last week, I don't know how it happened. It's just one of those things. Like for whatever reason, we were talking about Yellowstone on the show or something like that, and I don't even think it was on the show. It just popped into my head. I don't watch Yellowstone. I'm trying, but it's hard. I love Kevin Costner, but I'm trying. But for whatever reason, I had that song, "Everything That Glitters." It was stuck in my head, and I was walking around for like 2 weeks. I was in the car and I was singing it. I was at work and I was singing it. And I would be at home and I was singing it. It was just like, all right, fuck it. I got to listen to some Dan Seals, and I pull it up on the YouTube Music, and I'm Dan Seals Radio, and I'm like, all right, now I'm good. And I probably listened to both those songs like 4 times in a row, and I'm belting them out in my car. Great songs, man.
He was one of the best.
You do a version of that would be amazing.
When I put it out, I'll be sure and send it to you, man. That's awesome that you're a Dan Seals fan as I am. I'm a huge fan. Most people don't even know who Dan Seals is now. It's a shame, but
yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and I got to credit my pops for that because my pops was a big Dan Seals fan.
Same. That's where mine comes from too.
So I gotta be like, wow. You don't hear that name too often. But no, like I said, I would love to hear it. And obviously, when you do your version, what? Sorry, I just had a phone call from work. So I full disclosure, I work downtown Columbus, but where my property is, I'm right across the street from Nationwide Arena. I don't know if you're a sports fan or not.
Yeah.
But the Columbus Blue Jackets is right across the street. Their Coliseum, and then right behind me is the Columbus Clippers. I apologize. I do have to take this. They're going to blow me up.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I'm kind of to the end of my line too, man. I've enjoyed the conversation, man. Thank you guys for watching. Roy Orbison, man, I love Roy Orbison. By the way, I'm going through the comments here to read some of these. I love Sammy Kershaw's better than I used to be, but my favorite is Keith Whitley. Me too, man. Isn't that interesting? Because if you're from back in the day, that was kind of a beef. Obviously, Lori Morgan was dating Sammy Kershaw after Keith Whitley, but so I know, like back in the day, like I felt like I either had to be on Keith Whitley's side or Sammy Kershaw's, and I'm a big Keith Whitley fan, but let's see what else we got here. My wife got me into Kristen and Sammy Kershaw. Yeah, me too.
I apologize. Apparently, they're setting up fireworks at Clipper Stadium, and they need access to our roofs.
Oh, it's okay, man. It's okay, brother. I'm kind of at the end of my line here, man. If you want to go ahead and cut it off, I hate to jump off, but I really enjoyed the conversation.
No, man. Yeah. Before you jump out of here,
Yeah.
drop your socials. Let everybody know where they can find you at. Let
Sure.
everybody know what you got coming up. I don't know if you got anything coming up in the future. And if you got to drop down, go ahead and drop down. I got another song. I can throw that up as soon as you drop down. I hate to do this at the end of the show.
No, it's okay, man. I totally understand, man. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure to meet all your fans too. I can tell you've got a real tight network here, man, and hope to get to know some of these guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you, man, and I wish you nothing but the best, man. Hopefully the career continues to grow. You continue to blow up, and you continue to do your thing.
I want to see up the road. If I get up toward Columbus, man, I want to meet up. I want to get to know each other.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I definitely want to keep in touch with you. I definitely want to continue to see where this goes. And anytime you're available, if you want to do this again, we can absolutely do this again. Like I said, on Saturday nights we do a show, and all you gotta do is pop into the comments and be like, "What up, guys?" and then hit that fucking link, and you're up on the show with us, man. So
we definitely will, man. And yeah, joshmerritt.com is the best place to find future shows, and there's links to all my social medias, and then Instagram and TikTok is probably our biggest social medias right now, and that's at I am Josh Merritt, MERITT, and follow me and go check out my record 206 everywhere that you listen to music: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, thanks for being here, brother. Again, much love to you. Continued success. I'm gonna stick around for a minute. I'm gonna play another song. I'm gonna do my closer and shout you out. And while I got you, obviously, I think I already know what the answer is. But is it okay with you that we continue to play your music throughout the shows on the network?
I would love for you to play my music. Play any of my music that you want to. If anybody's got a problem with it, you tell them to come talk to me.
I'll send them your way.
All right.
Hey, man, much love to you, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, brother. I hope to talk to you real soon.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Gentlemen, Mr. Josh Merritt. Oh, man, what a fun interview. What an awesome guy. We're going to go ahead and play one last song tonight. This is Josh Merritt, Days Away. We'll be right.
days away, days away. Too much to do, not much to say. Days away, days away. Can't seem to keep my mind at bay. I don't know how much I loved you, or how little now it seems. When did my heart cross into some hellfire inside stream? I like to think I did my job, didn't keep too much inside. But the truth is, what I felt for you, it never even crossed my mind. And days away, days away. Too much to do, not much to say. Days away, days away. Can't seem to keep my mind at bay. Well, these nights have gotten colder now. Well, I guess summer's gone again. How did I get back to this place I always seem to end? See, that night I felt so righteous, with nothing left to lose. But I want you, and I want you bad. Oh God, here comes the blues. Days away, days away. Too much to do, not much to say. Days away, days away. I can't seem to keep my mind at bay. I tried to bring you back to me, but your heart has went to stay. And I know that you still love me, no matter what you say. If I could, I'd go there to you. I'd drive all night and day. But the closer that I get to you, you're still days away, days away, days away. Too much to do, not much to say. Days away, days away. Can't seem to keep my mind at bay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Merritt. What a fun interview. What a great guy, man. The dude is, I can't say anything bad about him, man. He's got a genuine soul, man, a genuine heart, and he makes some amazing music. It was fun hanging out with him. I feel horrible right there at the very end. Again, sorry, I am a 9-to-5er, 40 hours a week jobber at the end of the day. This isn't paying the bills yet. Maybe one day it will be, but it's not yet. So when duty calls, unfortunately, I hated ending it that way. But I knew he was on a schedule, and I wanted to make sure we kept it that way. And I didn't hold him up, or I didn't keep him too long. But love this interview. Josh, you're an amazing dude. You got a new follower. I walked from my wedding to when you say nothing at all. Nice. Jared Vichy in the building. Thank you for hanging out tonight, brother. Appreciate that. But no, I can't say enough good things about him. This came up spur of the moment, and I'm glad it did. I'm glad it happened. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, I'm not an interview guy, man. I'm hang out and have a good time guy. I'm hang out and let's have a good conversation and chit chat. And I'm a music fan, and if I like your music, I'm going to invite you on here, and hopefully we have a good time. And you know, hopefully Josh will get up this way, and we can have the opportunity to hang out together. And Josh, if you need some venues, I know a few in my area. I'll gladly send them your way, and you can get your management team on that to see if we can get you booked. And I'll offer you a couch too if you want. And I promise you won't end up on a true crime documentary. You might end up in a cage, but no, I'm just kidding. No. What? I don't know. But no. Really good show, really fun show, and I appreciate it. I implore you guys to go check out Josh's music, joshmerritt.com. He is on Instagram at I am Josh Merritt. Go give him a follow. Go check him out. He's got his link tree and his Instagram page, so you guys can find him everywhere else. You can find his website. Check him out. Good dude and an amazing singer and a songwriter. So this is why I'm doing Glick's House of Music, man. You get to you guys get the opportunity to hear and
Hey, Dad, I'm getting ready to leave.
okay. And you get introduced to
Love you.
huh?
Love
Bye.
you.
Love you.
I'll see you sometime tomorrow.
Okay.
Love you, Nikki.
I'll see you sometime tomorrow. Introducing you guys to new artists that you may not have heard of, but not only that, but we're also getting to see a glimpse of who they are as a person. So it's the whole idea of Glick's House of Music. So if any of you guys are out there listening or watching or hear the replay, and you know somebody in your life that's a musician, an artist, or whatever, and you think they'd be a good fit, let me know. Let them know. Say, hey, hit this guy up. I'm always down to do these shows. And where it stands right now, these Glick's House of Music is only going to happen when I have interviews, because I don't want to do music shows anymore. I don't want to play music anymore. I want to do interviews and stuff like that. Nice. Well, thank you, Miss Claire. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out. Josh is a great guy. Speaking of the next shows, ladies and gentlemen, what you may not know is that there is a full-on network, the Nonsensical Network, if you will. It's kind of my creation. It's kind of my baby. We've got shows 7 nights a week. we have a really kick-ass lineup of some really amazing, talented podcasting guys who are having fun, enjoying what we do. Monday nights is Men Caring for Men. It's currently hosted by me, co-hosted by Connor and Jarvis, a.k.a. Jaravishi. It is a men's mental health show. We talk all things concerning men's mental health. Tune in this Monday night. We will have special guest Kevin Spurtis. He's going to be coming on and hanging out with us. Kevin is a 5-time Emmy winner. He spent some time on Days of Our Lives and One Life to Live. He was also in a Jason movie, and he has a show on Prime, I believe. It's called After Forever. Kevin is a beautiful soul, is a beautiful human being. I genuinely love this man. I cannot wait to hang out with him and chit chat with him. But we're going to be doing Men Caring for Men this Monday night with special guest Kevin Spiritus. We're going to talk about loss and grief, and I think it's going to be a really good show. Bring your tissues for your issues, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to get real and it's going to get sad. But it's gonna be good, and it's gonna be positive, and it's gonna be a fun show at the end of the day. Tuesday nights is Jeff's Garage. Jeff and his boy, my boy Benji, now his boy Benji, and Blazing, and every once in a while you get to see other guys from the network pop up on there. Jeff's Garage, if it fits in the garage, they're gonna talk about it, whether it be cars, tools, heavy equipment, motorcycles, whatever the case may be. It's a car. It's a car show. It's a grease monkey car, grease monkey show. Wednesday nights is What the Fuck News. It's hosted by myself. Again, Connor's there, Jeff's there, and Jaravishi's there, and it's news that makes you go, "What the fuck?" And we have fun with it. It's comedy based. Thursday nights is Talking Shit, hosted by Mark and Brian. They're doing movie and television interviews with the actors, directors, writers, producers, whatever the case may be. Friday night is this guy right here. As long as I have a guest, Glick's House of Music, and it's what you've seen tonight. Me hanging out with up and coming local talent, giving them a spotlight and hanging out with them and chit chatting and getting to know a little bit more about them. Saturday nights is not meant for the faint of heart or the weak. Saturday nights is Nonsensical Nonsense. That is the cornerstone. That is the foundation of the Nonsensical Network. This is where the network became the network. Nonsensical Nonsense is unhinged, unapologetic, comedy-based, and we have fun. It's real talk. It's real conversations. But not only that, but we put a little monkey wrench into the whole podcasting game, and we drop the link in the chatters box, and we invite anybody and everybody to come up and hang out with us at the end of the day. All you got to do is hit that link. We ask 2 things. A, make sure your camera's on so we can see your pretty face. And 2, or B, I guess it said A, make sure your pecker's put away. We don't want to see your pecker. Gentlemen, we don't want to see your pecker. It's a bunch of dudes on a panel. Nobody wants to see your pecker. Stop it. Sometimes there are women there, and they don't want to see your peckers either. Stop putting your peckers on your camera. Nobody wants to see that. And then we end the week up with the Jarvis podcast. Jarvis is doing everything pop culture, talking movies, television, video games, and whatnot. Sometimes he has guests, sometimes he doesn't. However, there's a rebranding coming with the Jarvis podcast. He's going to be doing sports. But in the meantime, he's doing what he does. There's something for everybody. Love us or hate us, you're going to find something you like. You're going to find something you enjoy. Check it out, the Nonsensical Network or Nonsensical Network. We are on all the social medias, or you can simply go to bio.link/Nonsensical Network right there at the bottom of your screen, or just put in what I just said. All the links to our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch is there. We're also on all your major and minor podcasting platforms. whether it be Spotify, Apple, Google, or whatever it is. We're there. So you can listen to us anytime, any place. Give us a follow, give us a listen. If you be so kind, give us a share, and hopefully you enjoy what we're doing. We're just having fun, having a good time, and trying to be as real as we possibly can. So with that being said, I do want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight, everybody who was watching, everybody who listened. Thank you guys. A huge and a very big thanks to Mr. Josh Merritt. Make sure you guys are following him everywhere. JoshMerritt.com. I am Josh Merritt on Instagram, and you can get all the links for everywhere else. Go check him out. Go give the guy some love. He definitely deserves it. Great guy, great singer, great songwriter. And I look forward to seeing him again. Look forward to hanging out with him again, and I look forward to seeing him continue to grow and everything like that. I don't really have a closer for this show. I was trying to think of something on the fly, and I just completely failed. But just enjoy music. Enjoy music, and let's keep music alive at the end of the day. Let's keep the real musicians and the real artists and the real songwriters alive, and let's get rid of all these idiots that use AI and 47 writers. Until next time, Glick's out. I gotta hit this button, and then